We're going to go through the Article Manager today. Now the Article Manager is the very heart and soul of SEnuke TNG, so spending a little bit of time on this, having a play around and looking how it all works, will really reap you some benefits later on. Now you get to the Article Manager through this Article Manager link on the main tab bar here. It's also available from the Wizard and the Turbo Wizard, and we'll show you those when we get to those guides. We'll just click it to open it up. You see I've got nothing in this one at the moment. Now there are 4 different grouping methods inside the Article Manager, and the primary group is called the niche group. This is like the root group. Now this could be the name of your niche, or the URL of your website, or any category that basically summarizes the core idea of what all of your articles in this section are going to be about. Now we've been doing dog training, but I'll for instance just call this one pets, just so we can get a full example going through. So pets is our main niche, and so under pets we could have dogs and cats and various other animals, and those will be the sub niches. So we're going to have dogs as our sub niche, and then we can have a further sub niche below that, which could be our keyword, for instance, and so we're going to have another sub niche which is dog training. Can't spell today. So now we have a niche group of pets, sub niche of dogs, and a further sub niche of that of dog training. So now we need to put in some articles. Now there are actually 2 different types of article groups. You have the standard article groups and the bookmarking content group. We'll go through them one by one. First we're going to add in a standard article group, and you'll see that this window on the right hand side is now lit up. This allows us to add a new content source, set up mixing of articles, set up spinner settings, and also set up how the linking of our sites will be done, putting in authority links and setting up the images that go inside the articles if we want to. Now down here you'll see that it says spinner settings, and this is words not to be changed. If there are any particular words that you never want to go through a spinner, and when we get into this add content source section here, you'll see there is an option to spin text up automatically. But if you don't want a particular word to be spun, usually that would be, for instance, one of your main keywords like dog training, then you can put those words in here and they will never actually be spun up. Obviously you can keep adding words in here as you go along. It's no limit there. Now to actually put in some content, we click on the add content source button here, and that brings up the content source box. Now you'll find all the different options for content source here on the right hand side in this drop down box here. You have a choice of free articles. These are articles collected from eZine, Article Builder, which is a third-party subscription, leading articles, which is similar to the Article Builder, Content Machine, and Article Forge, which are both scraping systems. You can type in your own article and put your links in, or you can load in articles from a text file. Now these 4 here, Article Builder, Leading Articles, and Content Machine, along with Article Forge, are third-party companies, and if you require technical support on any of these, we do suggest you contact them directly rather than going through SEnuke. Generally we can't particularly help on these things unless it's something to do with how we interact with them. Now I will briefly go through each of them today though. So firstly you'll click on Article Builder. With Article Builder, the first thing you do is you select your category. They have a big long list of different categories which they have articles on. If your category is not in here, they don't cover everything in the world, pick something that's close to your niche, or even come in at a completely different angle if necessary. We are lucky because we have dog training already available here. Now the word count for articles, having a word count between 500 and 800 is a good range. You can set this lower or higher as you want. I'll just put it in as a 600 word article today. It's not an exact science. It will vary a little bit because of the way it works. Now the next bit is the number of articles to download. The more articles you download here, the more unique variations of the article that you can create. Now you get 400 API credits a day, and that's the equivalent of 400 articles. You can set this up as high as 50. So obviously if you set this as 50, you can do 8 article downloads a day. That's 8 articles consisting of 50 articles all spun together. Now if you need more than 400 credits a day, you can actually go onto the Article Builder website and you can buy extra API credits. And it's actually worth buying a small number of extra API credits anyway, because some days you might want to go slightly over your limit, and if you have this extra credits, that'll give you a little buffer that allows you to go just a little bit further. We're not going to set 50 today. We're just going to put that down at 15, which is the default, not 155. The next option here is new to SEnuke TNG. This turns on and off the built-in spinner on the article builder servers themselves. Now the advantage of using this spinner is that it can spin very large documents. And normally if you send documents to a spinner through a service like SEnuke, you can't send a really big one. You could send a couple of thousand words. Some of them support up to 4,000 words. But if you have got 50 articles and each article is 50 words long, that's 50,000 words, and there are no spinners that will allow you to send 50,000 words to them. Except if you tick this, the spinning is done by Article Builder themselves. It's using the best spinner. You don't need a subscription for the best spinner. That's all included with the Article Builder subscription. So you get to spin some very large documents very easily. It does take a little bit of time, and it does lower the quality slightly. Obviously, any automated spin is never as good as the original content, but it's a pretty good service, and it's well worth using for your tier 2 content. Now, the next service in the list is the leading articles. This is similar in some ways to Article Builder, except rather than having categories, you just simply have to type in the keyword that you're after, and you click the download content from ultra spinnable articles. Now, they don't have every single keyword in existence. What this actually is doing is, rather than looking at a bunch of different categories, it's looking at very large articles which are very heavily spun. Now they are perfectly spun. In fact, they are just about the best spun articles you will ever see. But they don't have every keyword, and if it has your keyword, the article itself may not be specifically about your keyword. It means it will have the keyword in it somewhere. For some categories, they have a massive amount of articles, others not so much. It's worth checking out their website and seeing if their categories fit in with your needs. Next we have Content Machine. Now, this is very different. Content Machine works as an application that actually runs on your computer, and it scrapes and creates articles automatically. You then upload those articles from the Content Machine program into the cloud. They provide a cloud which supports 100 spun up articles, and then from the cloud you can download them directly into SEnuke. If I just click the uploaded campaigns list, this will update my current cloud, and we have already copied in an article about dog training. Now this is already pre-spun. It has everything in it ready to go. It also has bookmarks and everything, which we'll get to a little bit later. Content Machine also has some advanced methods using what are called tokens, and tokens allow you to save an article in such a way that it tells SEnuke exactly where it wants the links to your website to be placed. That's obviously a slightly advanced method. However, you can just produce articles in Content Machine and let SEnuke control where the links go, and that's what I would advise most people to do. To do that, when you're setting up your article in Content Machine, you just need to make sure that you don't set any contextual links, article body links, or resource box links on the last stage of the article creation on Content Machine. Now, there's quite a lot to learn about Content Machine, so I would suggest you go through all their training if you're going to use that one. It's a very powerful program, and you can certainly get a lot of use out of it. Now, all you'd have to do to use this is, as I say, select from the uploaded categories and click download, and it will download it into the spinner area on the left. Now lastly, for the premium sources, we have Article Forge. Article Forge works a little bit like Content Machine. However, rather than being a program that runs on your computer that you have to run in advance, it works in real time. That is, when we put in a keyword here, it will go off and it will scrape the internet, that means search the internet for articles based upon that keyword and produce a new article there and then. The advantage of this is you can put in any keyword you want and it will bring back an article, even some really obscure things that you can think of. It's quite interesting just to put obscure words in there and just see what it can come up with. Now the only options you really have here, let me just type in dog training so we can get to all the options. You have a target word count. You have a choice of very short, medium and long. Typically, the very short is used for bookmarks, and you'll see when we get to the bookmark nuke that that's the only option when we get there. Typically, you want to be looking at the medium or the long articles. We'll just set a medium one here. The bigger the article, the longer it will take to download. That's the only important thing, and the more credits it will basically use up. The credit system with Article Forge is you get 200,000 words per calendar month. So obviously a 500 word article is using less words than a 751, and 500 is enough for your articles. Your only other option here is about spinning. It defaults to 3 here, which is quite a high spin. Basically this means how many variations of each sentence and each paragraph it will produce. For a tier 1 content, I would suggest you drop this down to a setting of 1, and for tier 2 content, leaving it up on 3 will give you many more variations of the article. The only other important point there is the more variations that you set on this, the longer it will take. For instance, if we just set the paragraph variations to 1 and sentence variations to 3, it's now got to effectively download 3 times as much information. Sentence spinning it makes more sense than paragraph spinning if you want readability. So if you wanted something that was medium quality readable, then you could set it to a 3-spin sentence spin and a 1-spin paragraph. Again, to get your content, you just need to click on the download content and it will appear in the box down here. The other options are all free and they're included in SEnuke. You have right at the top the free articles. This just scrapes an article from eZine. If we just do an example on this one, we type in the word dog training and download our content from eZine. It takes a few seconds and it's got an article about dog training. These articles are always very readable. eZine is very strict on moderation. They only allow good quality articles onto their site, so you can be sure that it will read well. The problem with eZine content is that it is generally well used. There are lots of marketers using this content, so if you look for this article online, you'll find that it's been used on hundreds of sites already, which is generally not a good thing for you. Now you can see at the moment the article is all black. That means it is a flat spun article. There is no spin text within this article whatsoever. If you wanted to make this article more unique, you could send it to one of the SEnuke spinners. We have several spinners available. The first one is actually built into SEnuke, and you get 50 spins per day using this system. The other 3 are third-party commercial systems, so you do have to pay a subscription for them, but generally you will find the results from the third-party ones are better. In particular, if you are wanting to use this content for tier 1, using these spinners down here would be a very wise move compared to using the free one. Now just for an example, I will send this off to the SEnuke spinner. So to do that, all we have to do is select the SEnuke spinner from the option there and click Get Spinner Variations and Auto Generate Now. It'll tell you it's working its magic. It'll take a few moments and then you can see the article has changed. Now you can see it has blue text within the article now. Blue text in SEnuke represents the fact that it is spun. You'll see here that it says most and people, individual, folks, men and women, shy away, absent, when they. So basically what this is doing is it's taking words and then it's replacing that word with synonyms, I can't even pronounce it. Replacing that word with other words that mean very similar things. There you are, we'll do it that way. Now, all we've got here is the word people and the word individuals. Quite often they can be replaced with one another, so what SEnuke will do when it's processing this article is it will put in the word most and then it will pick one word from this bit of syntax here. So it could go most people shy away when they, and then the next time it comes through it might say most individuals shy away when they, and then it might be again most people shy and then absent. Now you can see there it's got the word absent in. Absent doesn't make full sense in this sense because grammatically that is slightly incorrect, and that is where the more expensive spinners, the subscription ones down here that you can get, that's where they are superior to the built-in spinner. They will be much more grammatically correct. For tier 1 content that's quite useful. However, you can see for tier 2 this would be absolutely fine, and you can see that we've actually already basically created hundreds of variations of this article which are all different and unique. If we come up here to the we'll go there in a minute. We'll go and have a preview of this one. We need to just quickly create an author's name and bio first before we do that. Author's name and bio is used on the article sites. On most of the sites your link will be placed here in the text itself somewhere, but on article sites they do not allow you to place links within your article itself. You can only place the link within the author's name and bio. Now typing this out is slightly complicated because it does use some special syntax symbols. The easiest thing you can do is click this auto generate here and it will create one for you. You can see it's already got all the syntax, the little curly brackets here and there, and it already has the tags that are needed to put in your keyword, and also to put in your links down there. If you wanted to write it yourself, then you need to put this pound keyword pound every time you want your keyword to appear, and you need to type in pound links pound anywhere you want your links to appear. That's slightly advanced, and for beginners we certainly don't recommend doing that. But now if we go over to the preview here, we'll be able to just show you how that syntax was working. Now the first thing we have to do is type in a keyword that we want to use in the preview. Because SEnuke TNG at this stage doesn't know what your keywords are, you do have to supply them to it. So type in your keyword and just click on the spin preview button. And we have a version of the article. So here it will show you that it has spun it out to most people shy, absent when they feel of trading a pet. So you can see that that's not making perfect sense, but it would be fine for a tier 2. If we just come back to the edit article now, basically if you use any of these, the article builder, leading articles, content machine, article forge, the syntax that you get out of those will be better quality than the syntax we just generated, and the articles will generally make more sense in here. The other option we have down here is to type in an article. That basically just lets you type it in just the same as we did on the author's name and bio here. You could use those same tags, the pound, let me just show you those again. You can use those same tags, the pound keyword pound and the pound links pound within your article. And if you do that, that will force SEnuke to place the links and keywords in those exact positions. But you can also leave those out and let SEnuke just work out where to put your keywords as well if you want. As I said, using those tags is a very advanced method, and it's certainly not something to do on your first day of nuking. SEnuke TNG is pretty smart these days at putting in the links automatically, and it's generally not needed anymore. Now I'm just going to get rid of this article because it's not the best quality, and just we're going to use these in our wizard later on. And for no particular reason other than it being the first one in the list, I will just get a dog training article down from Article Builder. I'll just download one of those. You'll see it doesn't take very long to get them. And there we are, we've got one already. You can see it has been pre-spun, but it will make good sense when we get to look at it later on. So if we just give this a name of tier, spell it right, I can't type this morning, tier 1 content, we'll know what it is. I'll even mark it as AB for Article Builder. Actually don't need to do that because we record that now. We'll just call it tier 1 articles, and we'll just click save. Content source is saved. It's now here as tier 1 articles. It tells you where the content came from over here on the right, and we'll just give that a name in up here, tier 1. Once we've named it here, it will appear over there. We'll just save it up, and we can see we have now saved an article group. Now you can have as many content sources in here as you want. It is generally advisable to have multiple content sources within one content group. To add more, you just simply click the add and go through again. You could pick a different one this time if you've got subscriptions with them all. Now it is however recommended that you don't mix the qualities of articles within one group. For instance, if we were using Article Forge and the first article we had done had been a syntax variation of 1 here, the higher quality mode, it's not advisable to put in the same article group more articles which are of type 3, the lower quality mode. If you start mixing your articles, you won't know the general quality of this group as a whole. So when you go to the preview article here, what this does is it creates a syntax preview of one of the articles in the group, and if we just go there, you'll see we spin one up, we get a preview of the article that we've just created. So that will be one of these articles. Now if these articles are some good, some bad, some very low quality, some very high quality, you'll get variation in here. It will show sometimes the great one, sometimes the not so good one, and this is exactly as will happen when we're doing the campaigns later. You'll end up with a mixture. So it's good to keep tier 1 together and have your best quality articles as one grouping together, and then to create a tier 2 which has slightly lower quality articles. Now you may think it's strange to go with lower quality articles. You don't have to. It's not an option. You can produce the best articles all the time. The advantage of producing a what we call the tier 2 articles is that you spin them up more and they have more uniqueness to them. So they don't read as well. They don't look as good if someone comes to read them, but they're not really designed for being read. They're designed for just for Google to see and see that it's been unique content linking to you. Now if you do have more than one article in here, you have the option here of mixing the articles. What this does is when you get to the preview article here, rather than just previewing one article, it will grab a little bit from each of the articles and make one new article. Now that again obviously doesn't make very good sense if you're reading it, so it's not a good idea to do that for tier 1 content, but for tier 2s that creates even more unique content because it's merging together different articles into combinations that have never been seen before. Now down on the right hand side here we have how we control inputting our links into SEnuke. Now by default SEnuke is quite smart. It will look through your article for the keyword that you set in the wizard, and it will see if that keyword appears within the article, then it will use that keyword as the link anchor and link back to your site directly like that, so you get the perfect in contextual link straight to your site. Now of course not every article has every keyword in it. You can make the odds stacked in your favor by creating articles which are based on your keyword, but again you don't always get your keyword in every article. So when it gets to this, SEnuke has several options of what it can do. Now the first option in the list is to insert random links. This simply places the link randomly within your article using your keyword. So the context of the sentence will be lost, but the keyword will remain. If we come in here and we put it in, now obviously we have the word dog training within this article, so if we just change that to the word oranges, which probably will not appear, and we click spin, you'll see that here we are, it has just inserted the word oranges within a sentence, and you must instantly incentive your puppy when you comply with your oranges command. See, it doesn't make perfect sense anymore, but it does make some sense, and it has got your keyword into the sentence. The next option is to replace random words within the article. This does a similar thing, except it guarantees that your link will be put in contextually. The problem is that you're going to lose your keyword itself. If we come in here and we click spin preview, we'll see it hasn't found the word oranges in the article because the word oranges doesn't appear. So it's picked a word randomly, in this case adverse, and it's put in the link there. Now that may seem a little bit strange that you're creating random links back to your website, but it does create a very good diversity of backlinks, so you have a very varied backlink portfolio if you use that sort of method. The next option has multiple options within it. This is inserting a generic sentence at the bottom of your article. The generic sentence is something like, if you enjoyed this article on dog training, you'll find more at our website. If we just give you an example of one here, we're using the keyword links. If I spin that up with the word oranges, and we scroll down to the bottom, oh, we've got a picture of tomato. So it says, if you would love to recognize more about oranges, please complete the get in touch with form on our site. So it has put the link in contextually within that sentence. Equally, you can have naked URLs version. This, if we spin one up, scroll down. So basically, it just puts your URL itself within the sentence. Resources as well as references on oranges can be found on Orange's site, and then it just throws in a link to your site. It's does quite often will put in your keyword here contextually, and the link itself is just a naked. We call this a naked URL link. This is just this example here of this URL is just an example URL, because at the moment SEnuke doesn't know what your actual page is, so it just has to produce these pretend URLs. Now these are actually the same pretend URLs that are used in the next feature I'm going to show you. Let's just change this back up here. You can also select not to insert a link here. Now that may seem strange for a link building service to not put in links, but it's a very valid thing to do. SEnuke TNG has what's called the looping mode, and that's where it loops your campaigns over and over again, and it can use the same accounts over and over again. So we can use a social network nuke and just keep running the same set of social network sites over and over and over again, and posting to them over and over again. That's a bit like a little blog network. Now when you're creating a blog network, some of you will know you don't always post a link back to your website every single time. It's not natural to always post to your own site constantly, and people do put up articles which have no links in them at all. So what this does basically, if you're using a technique like that, is if your keyword does not exactly fit within the the article that has spun out, it will just skip it for that time, and then obviously when it gets around the loop again the next time, it will look again, and maybe this time the keyword is there and it will put in the link. Now that's best to do that technique when you've got articles like we've done today, where we've got a dog training article and our keyword was dog training, so we can be sure that most of the time our keyword is going to be there, but it won't necessarily always be there. Now I was going to show you next the authority links, because we just briefly saw that. If we just go here, authority links creates links out from your website to authority sites automatically. It's more natural if the sites that you're creating here in SEnuke, the articles that get posted to the sites, it's more natural if they have some links in them which are not always pointing at your website. That's how people would genuinely, if they were, if it was a person that was really making the nuke, making the page themselves, they wouldn't necessarily always link just to your one site, which is probably an affiliate site or something like that. So what this does is it pops in links which are to other sites. Now don't worry, they're not to other sites that are going to be competing with you as such. So just set that to between 1 and 2 links, and we'll just pick one of these. This one's at the bottom, so we can work out where to put these links in. Just go to the preview article now and just spin it up again. Okay, so we can see now it's taken the word should here, and it's going to link that into I can never pronounce that one, Wiktionary. the Wiki dictionary, there you are, we'll call it that. So basically it's created an authority link there. Has it done another one? Because we set it between 1 and 2, so it's only done 1 that time. Spin it up again. This time we've got to an image site. Spin up again. This time it's going to Pixabay, another image site. So basically it randomly picks a word out from the article and links it out to one of several hundred different authority sites automatically. Now the last option here is the images. Now you may already have seen that some of the articles had some images in there. If we just go back and do the preview again, you can see it has a random image. Now using that method, the images are not necessarily going to be related to your niche. The advantage is that these articles, or these images here, are randomly created every single time you start SEnuke. So basically every time you loop the campaign and run it again, as long as SEnuke has been restarted in between, you're going to have a new set of images for it to post. So they will never get stale, they will always be new, but they are not related to the niche. If you want some niche related ones, you can click this insert images from these URLs. Now you can paste in your own URLs here. You can go off and scrape some URLs if you want, or you can use this download images based on keyword. If we just put in the word dogs here, we'll put in dog training because it might be more relevant. Put in the word dog training, click OK. It'll take a few seconds and it will scrape up a big long list of images that we can use. So if we now go to the preview article box and we spin it up again, you should find that most of them now are dog related images. Now you do occasionally get some that filter through. It's got to load, the image is going to load here. Now these images are loaded from a third-party site, so they don't always appear straight away. There you are, there's another one there. Another one, so all of those have been dogs. So as I said, occasionally something else will fit, especially if the keyword you've used is something a bit generic, or a keyword that has multiple different meanings. It can't determine the particular meaning of a keyword, it just downloads any images for that keyword. So at this point we've basically set up I'll just move that up to that one. We've basically set up one article source here, which is going to put in random links if it cannot find our keyword within the text itself. It's currently set to not have any authority links. We'll just give it at least one authority link there, and it's going to use an image based on one of these images here. So that is, we'll just save that. That is our article group saved and done. Now you do the exact same thing. If you wanted to create your tier 2 content, you would select the sub niche you wanted to put it into. You would go up and create a new article group. You'd name the article group tier 2, and you'd copy in new content source material. You would generally spin that up so that it was more unique, and you would select where you want the links to go. Now with tier 2 content, generally speaking, your keyword will not be there. So the best options for tier 2 content are to set one of these randoms, whichever you feel fits your needs better. The do not insert link is not advisable for tier 2 content. You do need to always put a link in on the tier 2 content. Okay. Adding images and authority links. Authority is not so important on tier 2. Images are still useful because they help the article to look slightly better, but again, though these options are not so important on the tier 2 content. We're actually going to skip through and make a bookmarking content group now. So make sure you've selected your sub niche that you want the group to go in. Just go to new and select new bookmarking content. You see it tells us we've got a bookmarking one here. You see that this time the insert link settings have not appeared, and that's because with bookmarks you do not put the links in yourself. The bookmarks links are actually the bookmark itself links to your site. There isn't actually a link as such within it. It's you'll understand when you see them. It's slightly different basically to all the other sites, but the process is effectively exactly the same. You can set up a word down here for stuff that you don't want to be spun, and you go into the add content source. You'll find that a couple of them are disabled. That's because they don't work well for bookmarks. So there's no copy of ezine here, and also leading articles is disabled in this. And for all the other things, if we go into Article Builder, you see that it has been preset to produce small articles only. And for Content Machine, it's automatically set to use the bookmark function of Content Machine. So it still only shows dog training here, but it will only download the bookmarking part. If you use Content Machine, you'll understand that. And the same for Article Forge. If you go to Article Forge, you'll see that it only allows you to do very short. This is because bookmarks are only allowed to be short in general. Generally speaking, 50 words is pretty much a good limit for a bookmark. So if we just create one from Article Forge here, we'll just call it dog training, and we'll do a high quality one because this is going to be effectively a good quality bookmark. And we just download it. It does take a minute or two sometimes, but it won't be too long because there's only a 50-word article. Now you can see, because we set this to 1 and 1, what's been downloaded here is a flat spun bookmark, so there's only one bookmark there. Now typically you wouldn't want to use that if you're going to use the campaign over and over again, so you would need to send it off for some spinning. If we just do the same thing with, just delete that one off. If we do the same thing with, for instance, Article Builder, and we go to dog training, it won't spin it up fully. And we just download one, and we just save that off. We call it, give it a name. Don't think we named the last one. Okay, it's saved. Yeah, there we are. Saved as bookmarks. If we just give that our tier 1 bookmarking. There isn't really a distinction on bookmarking between tier 1s and tier 2s. You don't usually actually bookmark your own website, so effectively all bookmarks are going to be tier 2. So why I've called it tier 1 is possibly a little bit confusing there, but yeah, because you don't generally bookmark your own site, the bookmark things will always be tier 2. So it isn't essential that they are the bestest quality. There are a lot of bookmark sites, so you do need a lot of variations. But it is good that they make at least some sense. But let's spin that, yeah. So you can see it's a very short article. So coaching your pet dog is important to its joy. So you can see it has had some spinning done on it. We spin up a few. You'll see they're all quite they're all small, and that's perfect for a bookmark. We just save that off. I think we already saved it a second ago. I've forgotten. Yeah, we did. So we've created here a tier 1 and a tier 1 article and a tier 1 bookmarking. Now I would suggest that you go through, you add in more articles, more content sources, because in the wizard basically you can use you can select any grouping here. Basically you can, as you'll see, you can select it so that you have all the dog training content is used. So you can actually select multiple different article groups or different niche groups or different sub niche groups, so that all the content within that group is copied into your articles. Again, it also depends how you organize all this. You could, for instance, instead of doing it on a niche level like this, we could have called this group tier 1, and then we could have put in all our tier 1 content within this group, and then we could have made another group which was tier 2, and put in all our tier 2 content within that, and another group which was bookmarks, and put in all our bookmarks. You could also create a group which was like generic, and then you could create a bookmarking tab in there which just contained generic bookmarks. There's bookmarks that would work for any niche, and then you wouldn't have to produce the bookmarks each time. It's really very, very open, and the more you play around with it and experiment, the more you'll get used to seeing the little tricks and the ways that you can go with it. But what I've shown here of having your niche and then sub niches and then producing tier 1s and tier 2 article groups, that's probably the simplest way to get started and understand. Now don't worry about changing your mind later on. You might start off this technique and then say, oh hang on, I want to change it to something else. You can rename all of these whatever you want. You can also drag and drop them around. So for instance, if dogs was originally a sub niche and you suddenly started making a lot of money off of this dogs, and you wanted to recategorize that as a main niche, a niche group on its own, all you need to do is select it, just click on the text and just drag it down and out, and you'll see that rather than being, excuse the voice, rather than being a sub niche of pets, it is now a niche on its own. But all the content has been copied out. Just it's still all there. You can drag and drop these any way you want. It's all just like using Windows basically. Equally, if you've accidentally taken it out or you want to put it back in, you can just click back on it and drag it back down into the pets, and you'll see now dogs is back under pets. So you've got full control over everything here, and you can set everything up as you want and move it around as your business expands. Now that's how we create articles in the Article Manager, and the other videos on Wizard and Turbo Wizard will show you specifically how we're going to use those articles.